So, E3 2019 is not too far away, 3 months from now as of the publishing of this video. The show floor will be open from June 11th to June 13th, and in the days leading up to that, we'll be seeing a wide variety of different companies hosting press conferences. We already know that Sony won't be attending E3 2019 in any capacity, which I believe is a first in the history of the long-standing expo, though I'm sure the company has plans to host their own PlayStation-specific event during a time period when they can have all the spotlight to themselves. This means that other exhibitors who are presenting will get a bigger spotlight, Microsoft in particular, the most direct competitor to Sony, and Nintendo will likely do their usual E3 Direct. Other companies who have presented at the show include major publishers like EA, Ubisoft, and Bethesda, among others, but we now know that at least one of them will be deviating from traditional plans. The following information comes from a press release from Electronic Arts on their official website, through which they detailed what their plans are for the upcoming event. Highlighted bullet points include: first, hands-on with some of our biggest games, exclusive content from some of the most popular creators in the world, free for all to attend. But the newsworthy bit is this paragraph right here, which reads, quote, "It all starts this year on Friday night, June 7th, 2019, with an all-new EA Play kickoff event. We are skipping the press conference this year and are replacing it with multiple live streams that will air during the first 2 days of the event, bringing you more of what you've told us you want, more gameplay and insights from the teams making the games." In other words, while EA will have an E3 presence this year rather than skipping it outright like Sony, they'll be replacing the usual press conference with a series of live streams, essentially taking cues from Nintendo and their Treehouse Live format, with their intention being to do less talk and more play, as written in the announcement. Attendees will also be getting their hands on EA games in the company's own venue separate from the E3 show floor days before the event. Not sure if the lack of a press conference is indication that they're simply trying something different this time, or if they just don't have enough new announcements and showcases to justify a press conference. They've obviously got the usual EA Sports titles they'll be announcing new yearly iterations of. They will no doubt be announcing a new Battlefield game set for a fall 2019 release. We will probably get to see some gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, but other than that, I'm not sure they have much else to present. I'm also wondering how they'll actually be announcing and spotlighting the games that will be at EA Play. Nintendo has their pre-E3 Direct live stream through which they can get all of their major announcements out of the way in a brief and focused manner and get everyone hyped before attendees get to get their hands on the games they announced and before Treehouse Live shows off gameplay to those at home. Whereas EA has yet to announce anything akin to a pre-EA Play stream or something similar. I suppose we'll find out more about their plans as the EA Play event nears, but either way, I say good riddance to EA press conferences, as they've always been utter bore-fests at best and complete shit shows at worst, year after year. To call them press conferences is honestly too generous. For a while now, gamers attending or tuning into the event have perceived them as investors' meetings essentially, especially after last year's press conference. It's been 9 months since the dreaded EA Play 2018, and I still remember clear as day the boredom and frustration that I felt as I witnessed the conference unfold. Games like Battlefield 5 and Anthem barely got any on-stage time, and what little time they did get was spent on developers talking about the game in roundtable style rather than actually showing live gameplay, save for maybe the occasional clip or two. I have nothing against on-stage discussions from developers, mind you, but at the end of the day, at major events like E3, people want to see how games that are mere months from launch look and play, not just hear about it. So developer commentary has to be accompanied by a tangible gameplay presentation that accurately represents the final product. But you know what game did get a proper live on-stage gameplay showcase? Command & Conquer Rivals. Not only was it a travesty to witness such a classic and beloved series be desecrated into a microtransactions-infested mobile outing like EA has done with plenty of other renowned franchises, Dungeon Keeper comes to mind, the fact that well over 8 minutes, most of it live gameplay, was dedicated to this freaking mobile game alone went to show just how misplaced the publisher's priorities priorities were. Command & Conquer straight up felt like the biggest showcase of EA's E3 2018 press conference, like this was their big reveal, which is incredibly out of touch with the kind of crowd that attends or tunes into these types of events. EA surely knew that Command & Conquer Rivals wouldn't be particularly well received, but it's not like they really cared, as long as they could get the word out to their investors that they've got this new mobile venture that they can monetize to hell and back, whether hardcore gamers and gaming enthusiasts who attended the event were pleased or not was completely irrelevant. And meanwhile, one of EA's more exciting upcoming games, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, whose title, setting, and fall 2019 release window was announced during the 2018 press conference, was confined to this awkward sit-down and chat style presentation like it was some kind of last-minute afterthought. This is just one of EA's E3 conferences I'm recounting. I could sit here all day and talk about all of the other ones, but I'm not gonna make you suffer through that. The point I'm trying to make is that for years now, these conferences have done nothing but fuel negative PR against a company that doesn't seem to know or care about its main E3 audience. So in the end, nothing of value was lost here, and I highly doubt anyone will mourn this latest development unless they took pleasure out of watching train wrecks unfold. I'll be curious to see if EA's more conservative E3 format for 2019 will actually make for a better showcase overall, or if it will be the same drab affair. Perhaps a bigger question this all raises is what the future holds for E3 as a whole. Nintendo decided to forego doing E3 press conferences years ago, and it's worked out quite well for them. Sony decided to skip E3 outright this year, not even having a show floor presence, and now we're hearing that EA will be skipping a press conference in favor of hosting their very own hands-on event a few days before E3 kicks off. It's all leading to speculation that E3 is losing relevance, that the event may not be around for much longer, that it's dying and such. It might be too early to declare that E3 is dead, in my opinion, as the event does still draw huge crowds both on-site and on the internet. After all, E3 is that one time of the year in which people know they'll get some of the biggest video game announcements, and that allure will keep making this a lucrative event for companies to leverage from a marketing perspective. But at the same time, with the power of the internet, social media, and live streaming, it is definitely becoming less pivotal for major game companies to be confined to E3, or at least the traditional E3 format, to make major announcements. Nintendo happened to be the first one to see this, interestingly enough, with their Nintendo Direct live streams having become just as effective as any E3 conference, if not more, throughout the years. People initially thought Nintendo might be crazy to forgo E3 press conferences, but directs have allowed them to control and spread their messaging much more concisely at a fraction of the cost, and it's actually worked wonders for them. Hell, just recently they announced out of the blue that they would be hosting a Pokemon Direct, during which they unveiled the next-generation Pokemon titles, Sword and Shield, for the first time, to great reception at that. Years back, they might have saved such a major announcement for E3, while all eyes were focused on gaming. But in this day and age, with how fast information spreads through the internet, especially when it comes to big brands like Pokemon, with how much more mainstream live streaming has become, game companies can actually afford to take these kinds of liberties with their marketing. Similarly, when Sony hosts whatever event they have planned to make up for their E3 2019 absence, it will probably draw just as much attention as a traditional Sony E3 press conference. But in the end, it doesn't matter how radically different your marketing format is if the content of your announcements aren't any good, or if they don't appeal to the audience that's tuning in. It doesn't matter if EA will be skipping a press conference in favor of multiple live streams of gameplay showcases if the streams themselves and if the games themselves don't have anything compelling to offer. And that's where EA might struggle. Sports games will just be sports games, nothing terribly compelling there. Battlefield is, well, it's Battlefield, and Jedi Fallen Order could make a big splash, though whether it's enough to carry EA's E3 2019 presence remains to be seen. Who knows though, there may be other major surprises EA has in store for us that they're saving up, with the hope being that they aren't of the Command & Conquer Rivals variety, but the format they're going for this year has me thinking that they don't have much in the way of surprises. I don't know for sure though, and regardless, the absence of an investors conference disguised as a press conference from EA is a huge plus in my book, and hopefully with 2019's format, we'll actually see worthwhile and extensive gameplay presentations for games we actually care about, rather than for frickin' mobile games nobody at the expo will take kindly to or care much for. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.